I'll start the recording so I don't forget. I'm looking at the battery on my computer and going, oh, I forgot to charge this thing, and I don't want to have to find
Oh,
the
good.
cord in the middle of our meeting. So I'll get going. Hey, Amanda, good morning. Um, yeah, so lovely weekend. Everyone enjoyed the long night last night. It was beautiful. We didn't even get ready for dinner till like 8 o'clock. We were like, wait, what's going on? What the It's kind of sweet, except it was really dark this morning at 5 o'clock, really dark. Okay, so I'm gonna look at, oh, we're doing ketchup. That's right. Thank you, Paul, for sending the tomatoes. Nobody else commented, so apparently you and I were the only ones that really enjoyed that. See, they're still not commenting.
It was darling.
Okay, thank you, Shelley.
That was a good dad joke for sure.
Yeah, a good dad joke, that's for sure. Absolutely. Seems like I haven't seen you on Zoom in ages. Hi, Pammy. Um,
Good
so
morning.
anyway, just wanted to do some catching up today. Let's see, we're into almost the end of Q1. Wanted to kind of see what was going on with your listings, with your buyers, with the general conversation around the market, interest rates, all those fun things. Trying to think of who's got a lot going on right now. I know, Paul, you've had a bunch of stuff going on. Dee's got some escrows going. Rachel, you've got a couple closings coming this in the next couple weeks, right? Barb's busy. Rochelle, everyone on this Zoom has got stuff going, which is pretty exciting. Lisa finished up the February reports for me the other day and said February was great. So that's good news. February is usually our slowest month. So to have a good February means you guys are really working hard. So tell me what's creating this hard work and why it's sticking for you. If you don't volunteer, I'm going to call you out, Mike.
Um, okay, I'll start.
Well, thanks,
Um,
Mike.
I mean, really, I really lean on my sphere, and I'm getting a lot of referrals and stuff like that. I've been putting out postcards, and I haven't, I'm really thinking about
Yeah.
doing paid ads on Facebook and all that stuff to kind of drum stuff up. But um, as of right now, I've just been leaning on my sphere and it's been working. I mean, just going out, kind of networking a little bit more, I mean, when I say networking, like it's like going to parties and gatherings, events, stuff like that, and just kind of work in the room. And some good stuff has come from that. So just been staying busy. That and the eye leads, is a numbers game, and it just kind of hits when it hits. And when it does, it's a good little jolt of business as well.
Are you wearing swag at all to these events, or are you just
Yeah, I mean, I have like a Coldwell Banker hat. I actually went up to Sierra Custom Inks and had them embroider a few shirts, like polo shirts that I like to wear. That say it just so that, I don't really, I'm not huge on the name tag. I know that that's very sacrilegious here, but um, it's just one of those things. I always joke around. I was at Save Mart one time and I was wearing my name tag, and some guy came up and asked where the milk was, and I was like, I don't work here, man. And he looked at my name tag and he's like, "Oh, sorry, I thought that that was you worked here like a Save Mart name tag." So, but
it was
yeah,
an
I wear
opening,
my
no? It
swag
was an
out so
opening for
people
you.
can ask me. And usually people ask, the general question of, how's the market? What are you seeing out there? Um, and we kind of went into this last week in our role play meeting on Tuesday, and it's very, I guess it's very specific to the person asking, of course, and what they're looking for. And yeah, I mean, just kind of going into whatever they're looking for and what we're seeing out there,
So
with
in other
interest
words,
rates. And
real estate is a social part of your life.
oh, absolutely. My
Yeah.
my
It's a
wife is
lifestyle.
getting on board with that as well
Yeah.
now that I'm in year two, going to kids' birthday parties. And I mean, obviously I'm not always trying to sell all the time, but
Right.
it just comes up in conversation when people ask what you do.
Which is great because you shouldn't be selling all the time, but you should be trusted and friendly with people so they trust you in their real estate business.
I think it took me a little bit to learn that. Probably that first year I was really chomping at the bit and kind
Yeah.
of, a little bit more heavy on the salesy side.
Yeah.
But I learned real quick people don't like that. I was eager.
Well, thank you for volunteering, Mike, to be
Yeah,
our
of
first.
course. My pleasure.
Who else before I call on you? What do you have going on? Hillary's smiling, so I think that means she's laughing at you, so I'll let her chat next. If you can, Hillary, so I'm not sure if you can being outside. Oh, she's on a phone. She's saying, wait, I'm trying to unmute. You're making me dizzy. Okay, we'll move on. Who else has stuff? Hi, Pam.
Me, Pam?
You, Pammy. Yeah. Good
Hi.
morning.
I want to just explain. I sent out a text and I said the wrong thing or an email. So Chuck noticed, I don't know.
Oops. She hung up on us. Oh, I love it. Rochelle, you've got some stuff going on. How are you? How are you doing it?
I'm good. Um, so it's all my SOI really, and a couple referrals. I have one coming up in Morgan Ranch, hopefully April 1st. And then another parent of a client that I had that they ended up stepping back from buying. They're waiting until hopefully like end of summer now. So that's going to be like a listing and help them find something.
Awesome.
So
So, are you finding some of your clients through your son's school and that sphere?
no, it's mainly like church community because I'm
Okay.
part of a relief society.
Okay.
So that and then just the parents of that client were from like an open house from a long time ago. So
Just keeping
yeah,
in touch.
yeah, just keeping in touch.
So, Deb St. John was a member of, you're at St. Patrick's, right?
Patrick's.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Deb St. John, I don't know if you remember her. She moved to Texas a few years ago. She had her name in the newsletter. She volunteered for all kinds of things at her church, and she had a huge sphere of influence from that church and did amazingly well. So I don't know if that's a role you could step into or, name drop or something, but that would be a huge benefit for you because I'm not sure of
Yeah.
anybody else going to that church in our
Irma
county.
does.
Oh,
Yeah, Irma
is
does.
okay.
But I've like advertised on the back of the bulletin for a while, and then I'm part of, the Catholic Ladies Relief Society, and I mean, we have like 80 members, and I
Okay.
know most of them outside of that. Before I even started real estate, I've had, good contact with them, and I've just been part of that parish for 20 some years. So
Awesome.
yeah,
That's
and
awesome.
yeah.
Well, good. Keep it up. I noticed you're getting busy. Hey, Pam, you're back. I like how you just shut us all off.
iPhone.
Yeah.
So I sent out a email, and what I should have said that it was on the company Facebook page, not our website, but that cool listing that Graham and I have, Lofty did a promotion of it, but it said that it had a 20,000 gallon well, which it doesn't. It has a solar powered well with a 20,000 gallon storage for water. But so
Oh,
what my message was that, how we need to be careful with AI
yep.
because it doesn't. So I hadn't caught it, but Chuck did. So just a message if we are aware that our listings are going out to the Facebook page via Lofty, we need to be sure to look at the wording.
Agree. And that kind of goes on the tails of what Debbie and Neil talked about when they did our AI class last year. They said, it's actually very helpful and she's been using it, but you really got to vet it because
Right.
they grab little blips
Right.
from the advertising and
Right.
create their own. So yeah, good point.
I was
Thank
going to
you.
say maybe because I didn't know that the company had put it out there.
Yeah.
Like, so maybe Chad or somebody could drop us a text and let us know, hey, double check your listing that just went on our Facebook page.
Yeah.
I think
Yes.
I think it's automatic though.
It is. It is. Yeah,
but-
that's the cool thing about this new Lofty is all of our stuff is being advertised just boom the minute it hits the market.
But
Okay.
how can we change it? Like how
I
did
went
you?
in. I'm one of the admins, I guess, on our company Facebook page. So I just went in and edited it.
Okay.
Yeah. Or just let us
Yeah.
know if you know what. I mean, we should be doing that anyway, reviewing anything out there. But yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah.
Who else is? Hi, Hillary. Good morning.
Hi, can you hear me?
I can.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm
awesome.
busy.
So, oh yeah. So, um, let's see. I've gotten it's just kind of people from all over different places. I'm working with a couple of buyers, and then I think I have about like 5 different sellers in the pipeline. But sellers are interesting because they'll say that they're ready, and then, many of them have different projects lists or things that they have to do or things come up. So I'm just trying to work with that. And so I think with sellers, it's just been kind of hard to plan. Like, okay, we're gonna have like 2 or 3 come live in March, and now we're almost mid-March, and now it's gonna be April. So I think for me, it's just kind of like, how do you guys I guess like financially, it's hard. It's hard to figure out what's coming in when. And I think that that's maybe like the most difficult part about this is just making sure that you have a nice buffer to make sure that you're not freaking out when all of a sudden things go dry because like September, October, we're busy. And then November, December, we're not. And then all of a sudden, like we're busy again, but not much has gone through. So I guess just going through the slower times and then learning to, I've only really represented a few sellers so far. So the selling side is newer to me, and the project side and working with contractors, of course, is something that I enjoy doing and have done for a while. So helping sellers do that, but then spending a lot of time on coordinating different projects and then have the sellers just be like, oh, I think I'm going to use my own people or
Yeah.
just those types of things. So things that are very time consuming, but also, can be absolutely rewarding. But that's kind of where I'm at right now. So getting a lot of things ready, but nothing's hit yet. So,
And I think in this group that's on today between Pam and Lori and Barb and the other Pam and Diane and Paul, I mean, all of you, I think you can get some answers. So whoever's willing to help right now, I know Barb, you're an advocate for knowing what your business is and saving money while business is slow. So a little advice from you and any others would be fabulous here.
Well, I've mentioned it before that very early in my career, my father told me to store your nuts for the winter. He said, you think you're going to be rich and you're not. At the you've got to have the money to spend. And I mentioned how my father told me to do it. I put all of my checks go into a savings account, and I pay myself the same amount every month. So I live on that same amount. Every once in a while, I give myself a raise or I leave the country. But you store your nuts for the winter.
And what about from anybody else? How do you assure yourselves or your sellers that you'll get them on the market when they need to get on the market? Because anyone talk to that?
When they need to get on,
There is a need, right?
Right. I mean, it's their level of motivation, but it's, just being there to guide them. But you don't want to launch early either, if there's work that needs to be done. And I think one of the biggest things is setting realistic expectations around how much stuff they have and the clutter, and making sure, number one, that that is done. It's, and it can take a long time. I was going to suggest also, and it helps with Hillary, for like right now at tax season, do you have a business card for your business, like a credit card for your business?
No,
Um,
I don't.
oh, I would highly recommend that. So like right now, I have one that is just strictly for my business. That's it. So anything like photos, and then also like for like my sign service people have my credit card. My company fee with Coldwell Banker just automatically paid, so it goes onto that same card, so you're not kind of dribbling out month to month. And then, granted, you might carry a little debt for a few months before you get your statement, but then pay it off. But then it's also easy when, like I say, for tax season, it's like you just go to all those statements and it's, oh, here was for photos, here was for, the company fee, just all of those things. It's easy to find it. And then you should have a business checking account as well.
Totally. That is
Yeah.
100% something I need to set up this
But
year.
Hillary, here's a little clue. Don't call it a business account when you open it with a bank.
Right.
They'll charge you fees that you don't need to be paying.
Right.
So it'll be your Hillary Beckett CBGRR account. And if they ask what that is, just tell them it's your favorite acronym or something. I don't know.
It is my favorite acronym.
Because they will try and charge you more.
Actually, River Valley doesn't charge
Oh, well, there you
business
go.
accounts.
Good to
Yeah.
There you go.
And I don't know if Tri-Counties does either. Mine is Pamela Maury Realtor, so it's pretty clear it might, but I don't know. But yeah, I think it's important, Hillary, because as you get busier and you need to track your income and expenses, a business account makes it a lot easier.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. I did that year one, my first year.
Yeah, me too.
Me too.
Yeah.
I think it's also important if you're going to be helping people, get their home ready to sell, to get the listing signed and just do a, push out an on-market date. So you do get that commitment.
I would agree with you, Paul. I don't know if how many of you remember, but years ago we had an agent who was working with some sellers. She helped them they got their termite inspection done. She got the contractors there to do all the Section 1 repairs. She brought painters in. She helped them with a yard sale, helped them declutter, did all of those things. And I said, you should have a listing in place. And she said, no, they're not ready to sign. They're getting their house ready. And I said, oh, that makes me a little nervous. And then she came to see me one day and she said, Cheryl Rellstab just took my listing. I said, well, did you have a signed listing? No, then it wasn't your listing. And it was very sad because she literally had worked for months and months for these people. And so I said, did you ask them why they chose Cheryl? And they said they saw her at the grocery store and remembered they had met her before. And Cheryl said, let me come right over. And she literally went over that day and listed their house. So get your signed listings. Get your listing signed. Who else has questions or guidance or anything we can help with, or you can give some opinions here?
I have a question for Mike. Mike, when you're doing these Facebook ads, are you doing them through Lofty?
So I haven't done them yet. I'm kind of looking into it, but yeah, the goal is to do them through Lofty.
Okay. I haven't really looked at that, but I'm trying to put everything in Lofty. And I want to do the Facebook ads too. And if you can do them through their social media, it would be nice.
Yeah,
Even I'm doing a postcard right now, I'm supposed to do it today, on a just sold that I'm going to do through Lofty just to see how it works.
yeah, I pretty much want, and I told Chad this last week, is I pretty much want everything to funnel through Lofty. Just that way, it's that one-stop shop.
Yeah, you
And might
open up
as well,
one. Yeah.
yeah, might as well utilize that.
Yeah.
And then back to Hillary's comment, I have a seller right now. We have a listing coming up. I signed them in January, and kind of what I've been doing to motivate them, because they have a lot on their list, is checking in like every 2 weeks, like saying, hey, can I come over and see your progress? And it kind of motivates them a little bit more. Anyways, I just wanted to.
That's a great idea. Lori, how do you keep your sellers moving forward? Because they have a Lori list. So how do you make sure they get done with their Lori list?
I follow up. I check in. At first when I sign a listing, I give them a couple dates depending on their level of what needs to be done. I'll give them a couple dates, and I usually like to go live right before the broker tour of that area. And so I'll be like, hey, Nevada City's next tour is this date. You know, what do you think? Do you think we can get it, close? Sometimes we miss the date, and that's okay too, but that's usually the fire under their behinds that I give them is when they have a date and they have a to-do list and something to check off. That's how I like to work. And most of my sellers appreciate that, and they like a list that they can print out and check off too.
That's a
So
good idea.
yeah, it's just a lot of, and I literally go room by room. If it's not, if it doesn't need that much, then I'll just give them a general to-do list. But if it's a lot, I literally go through the house and take pictures of every room, and then I come home and I do a room by room list. And it could be, the kitchen, remove the spice rack. I don't know, remove everything off the counter. You can leave the coffee pot or whatever. But I'll be very specific to every room. In the guest room, remove the stuff off the dresser or clean off everything off the bathroom counters and shower. So I'm very specific, and even to outside. Roll the hoses and do that kind of stuff. And basically, it's a list to get them photo ready. And then I'll work backwards on that broker tour day, and I'll say, okay, we want to go live by noon on Tuesday to be ready for the broker tour the next day. That means we need to have pictures at least by Friday before. So we work backwards that way. And I get the listing signed, and we have that date, that Tuesday before date on there. And if we can go live before that, great. But the house has to be ready. I'm not a spring listing agent. It's when the house is ready.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks for that. Who else has some questions or guidance or comments that you can share? Rachel, thank you for volunteering. Where have you been getting your business? You've been busy.
I always say to Josh, just buying people drinks. No, I'm just kidding.
There is something to that. You laugh about that, but that's real.
Yeah.
I don't mean it in that respect.
No, it actually is real. That's actually a lot of times what I do. I'm pretty social. I say yes to everything. Open houses. I try to do a lot of open houses. And my goal is just to be better at follow-up. What I've been doing a lot is, I don't know if it's just that I have a good memory or something, but it's remembering certain things and certain criteria that people have that maybe they've fallen off for a while, and kind of just playing matchmaker a little bit and just throwing specific things out, and trying to really utilize Lofty for like continuous follow-up and just staying on top of people.
Well, I remember talking to you a few weeks ago. You said you had some buyers come through that place off of Banner, all those
Yeah.
houses, that compound.
Yeah.
And you said that you would kind of match them up with something you heard about at an MLS meeting coming soon.
Totally.
And then you
Yeah.
put that off-market sale together. That was incredible.
Yeah.
So
I think that was granted, that's like such a unique property. And so I have like a handful of buyers that I know are looking for something similar to that, right? So,
but how exciting for those buyers to be able to get that phone call from you.
Actually,
yeah,
I haven't heard you on it for a while.
yeah.
Yep. Are you on camera?
Oops, thanks for sharing, Rachel.
Yeah.
Who else is going to share or question
I don't want to be on the camera.
I'm gonna mute that. Pam Amato, you used to come in with a yellow tab of paper and you had your business plan. You were going to list Joe Smith's house in January. You were going to sell the Joneses a house in February. You were going to get ready to do something in March. How were you able to pull that off and still pull that off year after year?
I don't know.
Thank you.
I actually recently talked to I saw some people in the grocery store that I had sold house, and God, I couldn't remember their name. Went home, looked them up, figured out their house, gave them a call, and apologized for being remiss of not talking to them for years. And anyway, come to find out they want to move back to where they came from, and we were talking about their house, and so I went over and looked at it and gave them the list of the things I thought they needed to do, and we kind of chose to come on the market around Mother's Day. And so then I called them and I said, well, what's happening with your list? I said, what paint color did you choose? And did you fix the dog yard? And anyway, and come to find out that, they're not going to do it till next year. So I just kind of tabled them, but I sent them a thank you card and I promised to be in touch more, um, and they sent me another buyer. So, it is good to keep in touch with people and, just, I agree. You have to have a little bit of a pad. And, yeah, I mean, this business is not for everybody. And there's times that I go, do I still want to do this? Because I've been doing this since 1978 and I'm kind of tired. So I just thought, well, I'm going to listen to see what's going on. And, one of the reasons I really plugged in today is that I wanted to know why commercial walked out.
Oh, yeah, that's easy. We couldn't provide the platform they wanted. Tyson he wants to do property management and have like a whole section that does repairs, commercial property management that just, I mean, we have grassroots property management in our building and we don't have commercial property management. So he was just ready to go in that direction.
He's got a couple like little shopping centers listed. The one
Yeah,
at
he's
the
he's
Brunswick
he's
Walk.
had he's had listings for forever. I mean, commercial, you got to take a 3-year listing because some of those things, commercial market is the first thing to crash when our market goes down. It's commercial. That's the one that takes it's the first to crash and the longest to recover.
Is John going with him?
Yeah, I mean, this is recorded, so I hate to say too much, but John's at the end of his career. John's not ready to reinvent himself, and John is, close to retiring. He's had a rough health few months and rough couple years, and he just lost his sister-in-law last week as well. So he's had a tough time. So he just doesn't want to have to reinvent himself. So we've got a team put together that has significant commercial experience that we're working with right now, trying to get some training done, get our website built, and within a few days we'll be able to launch and let everybody know what's going on. But we're not letting it go. I mean, we've got a commercial division. We want to maintain a commercial division. We have commercial listings, and we're going to open it up more to people that are interested in being educated about commercial, are interested in advertising. And my commercial rep and I were talking last week, and he said, there's a new term that's come into the commercial world. It's called MLS commercial. And I said, what does MLS commercial mean? He says, cooperative commercial. You put your listings in the MLS and you open it up to other agents to bring their buyers and their lessors or the lessees to your properties instead of hoarding everything and saying, I don't want to work with you. You're not smart enough to be, a commercial agent. It's MLS commercial. We're going to be cooperative and we want you to bring your buyers because our sellers deserve to have every buyer come through the door they can. So that's what our rep is helping us to recreate. So hopefully that answers your question, Pam.
Thank you.
Yeah, how will that change? I mean, we do have commercial selections in our MLS, but then I know
there's less than 5% of the listings in commercial that are in our MLS.
So
well, I should say 10% or less of the listings.
Yeah, it seems like it's growing because, Ayrton shared Crexy with me, and I got to check that. And then I did do a little bit of research, on LoopNet, and there's a ton more there. But
yes,
the thing about LoopNet is that stuff could be sold and still be advertised there. So it's not, it's just kind of like a bulletin board. It's not really it doesn't talk about, I mean, maybe they do price changes, but they don't do active and pending and closing. You can't.
Correct. LoopNet is what Zillow was a couple of years ago, and they're not cooperative. They're not very cooperative. Crexy, we have access to Crexy now. So for our commercial listings, again, we're going to be able to expand the exposure, and we're going to utilize the tools that are available to us, which will be Crexy, and then LoopNet will still be an opportunity to one off your listings if you choose to do that. But think of that more on the Zillow platform.
So the commercial listing that I have, it's being advertised on the residential side. Is it going to then be advertised on the commercial side?
Yes. Once we chat, he's been so buried with Lofty, but I think he's got Alexis helping him this week. I think she's back from her trip to the Dominican Republic. So I believe she's going to be up and running. And then he'll be able to rebuild our commercial site. So yeah, once we get all that up and running, we'll be able to offer that out.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you. Absolutely. No, it's just going to be a cooperative, collaborative new team.
Are these agents that are already with the company, or you're hiring new?
I have one who's coming in, I think today or tomorrow, with some commercial experience, and then the others are with the company. Yes.
Is one of their initials LHR?
One of them has the last initial of H. Yes. Actually, two of them do. Yeah. So Craig and Lori are going to come in with their commercial experience. Yeah.
Awesome.
Kathy's got a lot of commercial experience, and then a few others have expressed an interest in taking some classes. So Coldwell Banker is offering us some very specific classes to launch us, and then they're offering some generic commercial classes as well. So yeah, it's exciting. I'm excited for it.
So will a residential agent be able to refer business to the commercial side?
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
With a referral fee and
yeah.
so forth. Okay, cool.
Yep. So more information to come. We just didn't want to blather it all out there till we really had a true course.
Yeah.
We're hoping to have our true course very soon here.
That's exciting.
Yeah, I'm actually excited about it. I was pretty jazzed all week trying to put things into place.
Mm-hmm.
And poor Chad, I keep reaching out. Hey, what about this? What about this? He's like, he's only one man trying to do everything right now. So
right. Well,
we need an AI Chad.
Yeah, right. A chat. We need a Chad bot.
Yeah.
Instead of a chat bot, we need a Chad bot. Who else has stuff? We got about 9 minutes. 9 minutes left.
I'm sorry to take you off track, but I appreciate
That's okay. No, it's good information, and again, it'll all evolve.
So Pam was talking about getting burnout in the business.
Yeah.
And I was kind of feeling that for a while too, but I found something I was really passionate about, with real estate, and it really helps a lot to get yourself back excited, in the business. And it could even be commercial, but what I'm doing is alternative building sources, which I've really gotten into, and it kind of got me excited about things again. So for somebody that's feeling a little burnout, if you find something passionate or that you're passionate about in real estate, it really helps.
I love that, Paul. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I would be interested in learning some commercial stuff. I did learn something new about an order, like if you are married to somebody but they have title in as being single or unmarried, that there is a petition to the court that you can make and then get an order filed to where you don't have to go through a full probate. So I do have a listing coming up sooner than I thought, because we think that this order is going to work. So that's kind of exciting.
Yeah. And you're a probate, what's the acronym?
I have a probate trust certification. I don't know what the acronym is. And I haven't actually been advertising it because because I don't really want to do the tenant occupied probate ones. I like the vacant ones where the people have already passed.
Yeah, I don't blame you. That's hard dealing with tenants.
It's and then the landlord doesn't have the obligation to do it, and anyway.
So Shell, what's going on in the mortgage world? I know things are topsy-turvy, but any news?
Well, I wanted to kind of preface it with, before we get into rates, just talking about some creativity, and especially for the younger agents, younger in age, is just thinking outside the box. We're seeing more and more young people, maybe good friends, pooling their resources and their down payment funds to buy that first house together to get their foot in the door. And keep in mind that parents can co-sign for their children, and the children don't even have to be working. They could be in school. They maybe are just brand new on the job. Maybe they don't have a lot of established credit, but we can still do an owner occupied. If the child lives in the house, we can do an owner occupied loan at great rates. Mom and dad co-sign. So it's just another tool to keep in mind when you're trying to be creative and get those younger buyers into the market.
Hey, Shelley,
Yeah.
do you have a flyer for that you could send me?
A flyer?
I think
no,
that's a
but
great advertisement because there's a lot of people.
I'll nose around. I'm sure there's stuff online. I'll see what I can find, Mandy.
You know, Shell, thank you for bringing that up, because actually I can't believe I forgot this. I didn't take notes. At the Masters Club dinner last week, Angie was telling me that she represented two couples. They're her friends' children in their early 20s, like 21, 22, a husband and wife, and I don't know if they're partners or spouses. They bought a house together. So these two couples bought a house on Perimeter Road. Neither could qualify individually, but they qualified together, and they just found a house that suited the both of them. And she was going to talk about it today, but Phil went in for his knee surgery today, so she couldn't. But I know I put that out there a few weeks ago in, I think it was a WRE article that I read. What an excellent opportunity. Like Mandy just said, if you can create a flyer, create a marketing piece that you send out to people, it's like, why rent when you and your best friends can buy a house? But I will tell you, as soon as I sent that out, Debbie and Neil both sent me an email. I said, whoa, there's a lot of legal ramifications. And I said, I realize that, but that's up to the buyers to make sure they are appropriate sources for each other to own a home with. And then, of course, it's up to us to make sure they get all the legal documents in place. Like, are you, tenants in common, and what happens if you want to sell and you don't want to sell? Of course, that all has to.
Yeah, you definitely have to get them in touch with the right person that is familiar with the pros and cons. And don't get me wrong, there's lots of cons. I mean, that probably would be the quickest way to end a long-term friendship, live with them. But,
no, not necessarily.
If
you found the right
ultimately
house,
they have a plan in place, and maybe it's, a 3 to 5 year plan, and then they both go their separate ways after building equity. But you have to live somewhere. It'd be no different than renting and having roommates.
Yeah.
So
No,
it's just kind of.
I was watching something online where these two gals who had been best friends forever, they're like, why are we renting a house for $2,500 a month when we could have a mortgage payment for $2,700 and build equity? It was just, it's a great
we have
thing for
such
some
an
people.
affordability issue, especially with first-time buyers. And the average age of a first-time buyer now in California is 40 years old.
Yeah.
That's really getting up there. And that's a lot of missed opportunity for many, many years not being a homeowner.
Yeah, Lori and I have friends that two entire families with their children moved in together in a 3,500, 3,800 square foot home. They split everything, and they loved it. They had the best time. Their kids had built-in roommates, and they lived together in this house for years. So
it's something to keep in mind. I'll see what I can find out there, Mandy.
Okay.
Anyway,
you want to talk about rates before we end the meeting?
Yes, real quick. So, of course, with what's going on in the Middle East, a lot of volatility. rates 2 weeks ago were the lowest they'd been in probably a year and a half. They were a full percent lower than this time last year, which to give you an idea, 6% versus 7% on a $300,000 loan is a savings, a difference of $200 a month. And I think our average loan amount nowadays is inching well over 400,000 actually. But it completely remains to be seen because with oil prices increasing rapidly, the likelihood is that interest rates could follow. So if you've got somebody on the fence, get them locked, get them, get that contract signed because we don't know what's going to happen in the next week or months.
And then can you remind people that if they bail on a contract, the buyers, what happens to that interest rate that was locked in for their next purchase?
Sure. So that interest rate, once it's locked in, we typically lock for about a 30-day window. Sometimes 45 days, we match the time frame on that contract. However, if they decline and they fall out of escrow for whatever reason, that rate is only tied to that one property. They're not going to get that rate back.
So the reason I asked you that, Shelley, is we had, during a volatile market about a year ago when buyers were being kind of persnickety and saying, if you don't agree to my request for repairs, I'm bailing. And the market was volatile, and we had several buyers who played that game with the sellers. The sellers were like, fine, walk away. Buyers canceled, went to go back into escrow on another house, similar house, and the rate had gone up like 0.5%, and they couldn't qualify for the next house. So if
you have a
are playing
qualifying
that
issue,
game right now of request for repairs and kind of, fooling around with a few $1,000s, be careful because that could put your buyers out of the market altogether.
Well, I've seen people just out of matter, they just get stubborn. They say, oh, it's just a matter of principle. It's not the money. And they're, quarreling over maybe an $800 repair to a fence or something that's really not insurmountable, to the point where they get ticked and they walk away. And then the next deal, their rates, half a point to a point higher, and perhaps even more on points and fees on that loan. So now is not the time. If they've got a good rate and they're locked in, just get it done.
Good. Thank you for that. That's point I wanted taken. One more thing I want to say, I'll keep this, unless someone has something they need to get answered right now. We're into our 45 minutes. Anything I missed or you wanted to chat about? Okay. This weekend on Nextdoor, and I don't know why I read that stupid Nextdoor. Paul Smith even said the other day, so don't read that. Some lady was talking about having purchased a home in downtown Nevada City. She had a plumbing issue. I don't know if anyone else saw this. Rachel's got her hand raised. She had a plumbing issue and didn't know that she had to have a sewer lateral device. And then, of course, you start reading the comments. You should sue your realtor. Your realtor should know that. We do need to know that, you guys. And I wanted so bad to reply to this lady. If you use a local realtor and someone who's educated and learns these things from the right sources, you are going to be taken care of. And I wanted so bad to say that, but that would have just started a frenzy. And I refused to engage in those discussions. But I just wanted to point out to you guys, be careful out there. There's some funky stuff and they'll start beating us up badly. So don't engage, because I will see agents start engaging and it gets funky out there. But I just love that you guys all know about backflow devices in Nevada City and Grass Valley. Rachel?
Can I make one comment?
Yeah.
Well, number one, yes, I also did not engage, and I don't really engage. I think it's a slippery slope and it's a spiraling thing.
For sure.
It actually, I think it was even further than the backflow device. It was sewer lateral lines that aren't, which I don't know, is that the same thing as a backflow device?
Yeah.
Maybe this is a piece of education.
Yeah, it's just where they're headed. You've got the city sewer lines and you've got the private sewer lines, and it's a little gray as to who has to take care of what. But essentially, the city says once you tee off of our line, you are responsible for everything to that line, even if it's in the middle of the street.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is the backflow device. So that's a backflow device inspection. Just confirming, because I know that, but like someone was like, it's not the backflow device. It's actually like the ancillary lines. And I was like,
no, they were referencing the backflow device.
Okay.
And I think it was Tomato. Oh, she's already gone. A couple years ago, I had Gia's house listed for sale on Pine Street, and we had a buyer come in, and the buyer wanted to do a plumbing inspection. So the other agent called and said, it was Lauren Jennings of our office at the time. And Lauren said, do we do plumbing inspections? I said, absolutely. And I'm glad they did, because, those houses were built in the late 1800s, early 1900s. And the plumbers really need to go out there and do inspections. So instead of just making sure the sewer lateral or the backflow device is there, anything downtown, you should have a plumbing inspection done. There's some scary, it's clay pipes in a lot of those houses. So anyway, yeah, so that's our news for the day.
Can I?
Yeah, please.
I just have a new listing coming up, and I'd like to get it out to you guys first. I think it's going to go quickly. It's on Ridge Road, and we're just waiting for tenants to be out. I think most of the tenants are out in the main house. And it's the address is 10984 Ridge Road. It has it's kind of an estate property. It has a main house with 3 to 4 bedrooms. We're still doing a little bit of cleanup. The whole exterior has been painted. The yard's been cleaned up. It's really nice. It has a studio granny unit in the back. There's some things that need to be fixed up. So we're only priced at $569. So we're in the Nevada City side of Ridge Road. So if you have anybody looking, let me know, and I could probably get you in sooner than later. I'm hoping to have pictures and be on the next Nevada City tour, which is the first, I think it's the first week of April, but could get somebody in there sooner than later. I have a neighbor nosing around as well. So just let me know. It's going to be, it has potential to be a very cool house.
Diane, could I say something about a
Of
listing?
course.
I've got one coming up. I'm out of my area of expertise, up on Banner Lava Cap, about 5,000 square feet with a pool. And it's going to be about 9:30. And if anybody wants to see it ahead of time, they are doing some cleaning up.
After the storms.
Well, yeah,
we got hit hard.
Yeah, so they've got a lot of cleaning up to do, but I believe it will be on the market at the beginning of next month, but I can show it in the interim.
Awesome. What street?
Banner Lava Cap. It's for some of you might remember the old Jack's restaurant. Does anybody remember that? It was done at that's the house.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So right up there on the left-hand side going up.
Yeah, I think it's above Gale or right by Gale. Yeah.
Yep. Awesome. Okay. And my battery held out. Yay. Thanks for the join. We have business meeting on St. Patrick's Day next week, so wear your green. I think Lisa was working on a guest speaker, and Nevada County Mortgage is going to do a little something too.
Will be Paul. I'll be in Scottsdale. Paul will have to do his little something.
Nevada County Mortgage, Paul.
Yes, but I'll be thinking of everyone in the 95-degree weather.
Yes, I bet you will. And Paul Smith, keep working on that bowling thing. That'll be fun. That hopefully for March or April.
Oh yeah, Paul, you and I need to chat more about that too.
I'll call you today.
Awesome.
Okay,
thanks guys.
Okay.
Enjoy
Bye,
the sun.
See ya. Bye.
Enjoy the late night tonight. Bye.
Bye.